Hello and welcome back, Granny. My hands
Hello,
aren't working.
Octo.
I'm still trying to work out my hands. So like these human
You need to
hands.
put them
I
up a
can't
bit
work it out.
higher, I think. Raise. Yeah.
There we go.
That's it.
I'm still trying to work them out. Yeah. So hello everyone, welcome back. Episode 7, Granny. Episode 7.
Wow. It's amazing we're still on air, isn't it, really?
That's right. Episode 7 and still no donuts. That's what my key takeaway for this.
Yeah, it is. It is no donuts, and we keep telling Ethan Rushok we want donuts, and he keeps saying the pressure's building, but he's not doing anything about it.
Yeah, well, that's right. There's a severe lack of donuts. Maybe there's a donut shortage that we're not aware about.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Well, there's not a shortage in South Australia, I know, because one of our viewers, Sandra, she's able to get them over there.
Yeah, that's something that we haven't thought about. Maybe we just boycott and just not do any more episodes until we get our donuts.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe that's what he's going for.
Well, I was about to say maybe that's what he's angling for. Maybe we just do more and more just to prove a point.
Yep. Yeah, so, I think we should increase them and keep the pressure on.
That's right. So, Granny, we just got off the back of our first live.
We did, and we survived.
I know that my voice is a bit parched. I need some salt water.
You do.
And
you need lots of salt water, a bit of spritzing, I say.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, we'll have to bring in my little water bottle for spritzing.
Yes.
But so I'm in the process of trying to scream at the moment because my voice is given out. So hopefully I'm not mumbling and everyone can understand what I'm saying. But what's new for you this week, Granny?
Well, I've been very busy this week.
No, really.
Do you like my hat?
Yeah.
Did you notice I had a hat on?
Yeah, I did. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, and apparently you're an eBay rapper.
That's exactly right. I think I'm just going
to refer to you as G-Dog.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, so I was given a bit of a challenge by John the reseller and the people that follow his listing live stream one night that I should do a rap video. So I went with it, and a fella called Peter Van Winden reached out to me and said he would like to help me with the lyrics and the music, which he wrote the lyrics and gave me the backing track that he did for me, and voila, I'm a rap star.
I know, I wouldn't go that far, but we can see. We might actually have a bit of a taste of your rap video. Hopefully, it doesn't make people's ears bleed and their eyes pop. But...
Well, the good thing about it is it's only 2 verses and 2 choruses, so it goes for less than a minute. So that's the good thing.
Well, we're about to say our retention rate lasts for less than 5 minutes, so hopefully it'll
squeeze in before then. Yeah.
Well, that's right. But before we move into the rap video, and we'll talk about that, our live, we had 18 people in there, which is 17 more than we were expecting. So that's always a good thing.
It is.
So didn't really launch off what we were I suppose we were designed to do this live. So a bit of a plug for the live. So every Thursday we're still in negotiations for the time. It might slide either to the left or to the right by an hour because we're conflicting with another YouTuber. We don't want to we don't want to step on their toes. Oh, that's right. Well, we don't want them stepping on our tentacles, put it that way. So that's potentially another 3 people we can have in the live.
True.
We might put it out there possibly for does 10 a.m. suit you better than 11? I think.
Well, yep. Now that I can go with my different rap hats, you see, I've got.
Well, that's right.
Oh no, I've dropped it. I can't pick it up now.
So, that gives me a couple of hours to recover my voice from talking for an hour.
Yes,
so
that's true.
The purpose of that, if you haven't already caught through Instagram and different things, is that we do an accountability hour. So you can spend that hour either doing listings. So you're more than welcome to to do listings and engage in the chat where you feel if you feel like you want to, or alternatively you can jump onto StreamYard and you can jump in and have a chat to Grumpy Granny and myself. And you can tell me what you're looking at about accountability wise. So basically, we'll give you 7 days to give us what you want to do over the next week.
And Grumpy Granny actually even makes real notes, and I make a list of your name and what you've said you're going to do, and then you come back next week and
report back.
Tell us that you've completed it or not.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So, but like we were saying in the live, is depending on the reception you'll get is, either favourable or unfavourable, depending on how well you do. So the octopus is quite binary in the sense that you either complete your goals or you don't complete your goals. And if you don't complete your goals, you're going to find out why I get called the Disgruntled Octopus.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you will.
Yeah, so
you will.
Yeah, I think some people just need some motivation by tough love. So, as I put in the Instagram story that I wrote, I'm losing track of my thoughts again. To be screamed at is to be loved. So, some people like a bit of tough love in regards to eBay. So, hey,
yes, to be screamed at is to be loved is maybe in your world, but at the same time, I do believe some of the young boys and girls could do with a bit of a kick up the bum or a pitchfork, up the backside to give them a bit of a shove along. If they've said it and they've got to come back and report, well, it gives them a bit of added incentive to do it.
And that's exactly right. And I think this idea came around with Grumpy Granny is that she noticed in the Facebook groups there's a lot of people looking for accountability groups and more interactive opposed to just sitting there watching a YouTuber one style, which is fine. Like John the Reseller does a couple of listing groups late at night. But we're trying to make it more interactive. So, we're not going to judge you when you come on live if you're nervous and all those different things, but we will judge you if you say you're going to do 100 listings and you only do 3. So
True.
So, everyone starts somewhere. If you're not comfortable in front of the camera or you don't want to do something, you're more than welcome to pop on and tell us what you want to do. Granny will take the notes, then look out the following week.
That's right. And they can put it just in the chat if that's all they're happy to do, or they can, as you say, jump in on the live stream with us and tell us in person, kind of.
That's right. I'd prefer if they jump on the live screen because...
Well, it would be good, yes.
That's right. Well, because, I can berate them. It's very hard to berate people in the chat because they can't run away. And we can't see them break down into tears.
We did have 3 takers come in on the live stream this morning.
I think it was just a bit of a coup they were trying to overtake, I think. They were trying to overthrow the octopus.
Maybe.
Yes, we had Blake, John the Reseller, and who was the other one? I can't remember.
Oh, what's his name?
He was a pretty handsome man, if I remember.
I see him occasionally on YouTube. Oh, was it that Wayne? Uncle Wayno.
Uncle Wayno, that's right. Yeah, so... Contrary to popular belief, he's not dead. We'll start that rumor. He looked like he was dead, but he
was unwell.
He's not feeling well. But so if Wayno can come on when he's on his deathbed, that's no excuse for the rest of you. So more than welcome. So and it's open to international. So we are cognizant of the time difference, which is why we'll probably slide it till 10 a.m. Not to conflict with Drew and his live chat. So then we'll hopefully bring in some, people from the UK and the US as well if they want to come in and have some accountability. So they're more than welcome to pop in as well. And I scream at everyone equally, so no preferential treatment for anyone. Yeah,
regardless of your accent, he will still give you a hard time.
Well, that's exactly right. So, well, I don't know. I think we better show your adoring fans this horrific rap video you do.
What do you mean horrific? The fans love it.
I don't know about that, but hopefully it works. And
I've had very good feedback.
Well, hopefully it works, and if it doesn't, I'll put the link in below, and you'll probably see it because I'm not editing it out. But without further ado, here we go. I'll press play. Can you hear it, Granny?
No.
Oh,
there we go.
Treasures and now the rap scene. Sourcing deals, packing right in the reselling game. I'm shining bright. Be on the lookout, that's the key. Grumpy Granny's on a flippin' spree. From YouTube to eBay, I'm in control. Buying those deals, low, low. From drifting addiction, I built my name. Waiting for donuts, it's a numbers game. But I stay humble, it's all about the grind. Persistence and passion are intertwined. Be on the lookout, that's the key. Grumpy Granny's on the spree. YouTube to eBay, I'm in control. Finding those deals, follow. Quick, grab those 501 Levi's.
There you go. What do you think?
I'm going to have nightmares for the rest of my life.
That's not very nice.
Well, my subscriber count just went to the minuses. So
it'll probably go up now.
I was about to say, we'll just see how quickly the retention rate drops from 5 minutes to 2.5 minutes.
You're taking note of the time. It's 10:28 into the stream. So
that's right. Yes. So we might see how that affects the numbers, but nevertheless, I will add it to the description. So if you're one of those sadists that want to go back and watch it in full numerous times, it's in the description. And just make sure you subscribe to me and unsubscribe from Granny. So don't blame me for that. Don't blame me for that.
No, just come over and subscribe to Grumpy Granny's channel. That'd be good. Thank you.
It's up to you, but
and and if you feel,
make sure you subscribe here first.
If you feel so inclined, please like and subscribe to the Octopus's channel.
Yeah, we're trying to get as many people as we can. It's really.
So, how many subscriptions are we at now, Octo?
I think we're about at 212 at last count, which is good. Yeah.
So, if you all remember, Octo did say that if we got to 250, we would do a live stream, but it won't be like an accountability stream. It'll be a live stream.
Yes.
Chitty chat type thing. So we need you to get Octo to 250 subs so that we can do that. Have a party.
And if we get to 250 by the end of August, I will set a challenge, and that will be in conjunction with Chris Furlong's Backpack for Kids.
Ooh.
So we've got quite a tight timeline because he obviously wants to meet his goal before the end of September or around that date. I think it's about the 19th. I'm not too sure. I'll have to double check that. However, if we get to the 250 subscribers closer to the end of August, I'll make a challenge and we'll talk about that a bit further.
Very good.
That's obviously dependent on how many people subscribe and launch us to that 250 milestone. So
come on, boys and girls. Hit that subscribe button. And if you click the button and nothing happens and you don't know what you've got to do, you just have to make an eBay account and it's free and then you can subscribe.
Well, preferably with YouTube opposed to eBay.
Oh, sorry, a YouTube.
This is why you don't work with old people. Old people, yeah. And wrapping old people, which is worst.
Well,
yeah. So in the octopus world, when we rap old people, it's not necessarily them singing.
Look,
something to do with Davy Jones.
Rap music's not really my normal cup of tea. It's not normally the type of music I'm into, but it was fun.
Well, yeah. Well, look, put it this way: if Martha Stewart accidentally, falls off the mortal coil, you might have Snoop Dogg hit you up. So
you never know. You never know. You never know. Right. Look, it's so good that, like eBay might get it and use it in their ads.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Don't hold your breath because you might die. Anyway, so moving along, Grumpy Granny, what's been annoying you this week?
Oh, well, so this week I want to know why do buyers on eBay like your items and you've got them on a 30% off sale and they like them, and then you send them an offer with an even further 5% off, and they still don't buy it. What gives?
Because I can tell you what, right now, that those likers are probably resellers themselves. They've probably got the same item.
So all you resellers, stop liking my items and making me send you offers that you're not going to accept, right?
That's right. That's exactly. At least have the audacity to decline them so that you can edit the offer.
Well, then, because if I do that, then I can just move to the next person. Whereas if they hold it it's just the offer's just sitting in nowhere land for however long it goes for.
Yeah, 48 hours. Yeah, and I think normally I don't like to whinge because the disgruntled octopus isn't a whinging person or an angry octopus by any means. But bloody hell, eBay, fix up this bloody offer system, and we were talking about this about a little bit in the live, is that with ChatGPT and the AI introduction into the video, into the listing descriptions, how about you use that money into something like you said that you're going to do for the last 3 years, and bring in the immediate pay for offers. In the last week, I've had 8 offers for I've had 8 unpaid offers which I've had to cancel after 4 days, which is personally not good enough.
No, it's not. It's not good enough at all. And it is a pain in, I think, every reseller's backside. And, we had in one of the groups that I'm in, we had one of the newer members that's only fairly new to eBay and came in with the question. I've got 4 unpaid offers sitting there that I accepted, and is that normal? And we all had to say yes.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure if I've actually touched on this before, but the way that I handle it is that I will send them an invoice straight away if they haven't paid straight away. Because, and I think a lot of other YouTubers have alluded to this as well, is that if they haven't paid within the first 6 hours, they're not paying 99% of the time.
Yeah.
So as soon as they buy, and I've got the option of sending an invoice, because if the payment's still processing behind the scenes, it won't give you the option of sending an invoice to them. So I'll send them an invoice as close as to when they're active as possible, because they're still on the platform. They haven't forgot about it. Then if they haven't paid by the next day, so depending, maybe 8:08 the next day, I'll send them a payment reminder through the app, not through the system, because if you send them an invoice through the eBay system, that actually resets the 4 days. So I'll send them a payment reminder through the app, which doesn't affect the 4-day thing. Then if I haven't heard from them by the second day, so that, the day 24 hours after sending them a payment reminder, I'll actually relist that item, because if they haven't reached out or they haven't made any contact, they're not paying for it. So then on the third day, I'll put them on my block list, and on the fourth day, I'll leave. As much as people don't agree doing this, and and I don't promote it. However, I'll leave them false positive feedback saying that they're a non-paying buyer, and the Octopus advises not doing business with this person.
Yeah.
So many years ago, eBay used to have a system where sellers could leave negative feedback for buyers, but obviously that was probably pushing buyers off the platform, because they're getting like a negative buying experience, I suppose, for lack of a better term. And eBay removed that from sellers. So by using this, like if you've got your Octopus sensors tingling, when you get offers, check their feedback out, because you obviously you can get a feeling if they're not going to pay, or if they're a scammer. And also, if you're on a computer, check their feedback that left for others as well.
Other people.
Because that's right. So if you see a sea of red, I'd strongly suggest decline and put them on your block list.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing is that if they're a genuine person and can't pay that day, they're actually going to reach out to you. So I've got a book that I have to post today that someone sent me an offer on, and I accepted and sent them did the same thing. I sent the invoice, and they got back to me. I don't know whether it was on the invoice or the message that I sent the following day, perhaps. And contacted me back and said, yes, I do want this book, but I can't get it until tomorrow. And that's fine with me, because I know then. Yeah. Because otherwise I think, well, it's just going to sit there.
And that's exactly right. And the Octopus plays dumb. If I send a unpaid item reminder out, just the generic one that eBay comes up with, then the buyer, or Granny, for example, in this case, reaches out to me. She says, "Oh, hey, I'll pay tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yep, no worries, thanks for that. eBay must have sent you a message to remind you." So I plead, complete ignorance. Me sending, that's right. So me, sending them an email, I play ignorance to that. So no worries. Sorry, eBay must have sent you an automated message to remind you to pay, but that's fine. And maybe 75% of the time they'll pay for that. You will get some. You will get some buyers that say, no worries, I'll pay tomorrow, or I'll pay next week, and all these different things. And likewise, and this episode is not about non-paying buyers, but if they try and change the terms and conditions after the sale, so if they've committed to the sale, then they say, hey, look, I'm not going to pay till the end of next month, because that's where I get paid, or can you express post it and I'll pay it on Friday, which is 6 days away, or something along those lines, which is not, or can you change the address, all these different things, and I'll pay you next week, like all these different things. But there's that lead time, what it is. Normally I'll say, no worries, I can do that, fine. I'll give them 4 days, block them, and basically mark them as unpaid, unless it's genuine, right? You can kind of get a feeling for these things to see if it's just something that that they're committing to, or it's kind of like you have a very uneasy feeling in your stomachs, just to say, hey, look, there's something off here. No worries, I'll just placate them, so that especially if they've got a sea of red as their feedback left for others. then just wait the natural 4 days, then basically cancel them and put them on your block list.
And I also had one of those this week, which was a book that sold that was in my sale, and they sent me an offer for even less, and I accepted it mainly because it was international shipping to the UK. And then he contacts me the next day and says, I'm actually not in the UK this week. I'm in Australia this week. Can you change the shipping address? And, straight away I thought, sure. So I just straight away contacted him back and said, and this is what you should do, because you shouldn't send an item anywhere that's not to the address that eBay tells you to send it to. I contacted him and said the only way of doing that is if I cancel the sale, and then you will have to rebuy it. And he said, yep, no worries, do that. So, And then once he did that, then you can block them and
that's right.
Relist your book for how much you really want for it.
That's right. And it really comes down to, in that scenario as well, is I probably would have entertained it if I've had that book for a while. It was a slow selling, if it could have been like that. But like you said, if it's just been listed yesterday and, it's a quite in demand a book, it might be just a case of saying, no worries. And, like it really comes down to your octopus senses just to see what you gut feelings.
Well, the thing being that because you are telling them that you're not going to send it to a different address unless they go in and change their eBay account, then you know full well that if they come back and buy it with that address, well, that's fine. But if they don't, then it was obviously a bit of a scam, wasn't it?
Well, that's right. And I suppose you need to be mindful as well that in the caveat to that is auctions, right? So if they've won the auction, they can't actually change the address post-auction. So I source a lot of my my products that I buy from auctions in the US, right? So I use the US eBay website to do that. But I've got a mail forwarder that I use in one of the states over there that I collate all the stuff that I'm sending across to Australia, and that gets sent to there. But because I'm using eBay Australia, I can't use that address for that state as a default or even as a selectable address. So when the auction finishes, and I've won that item, it's trying to default to Australia or the Bermuda Triangle in this time. So basically, they're trying to charge eBay is trying to charge me $108 in shipping or something like that. So I'll actually reach out to the seller and say, hey, look, this is who I am. This is where I'd like it sent. This is a mail forwarder to Australia. Can you send it there? And either they'll create a discount for the product to remove the shipping cost. So they'll basically remove it from that perspective. Or that they'll just basically create you a listing. But you just need to be very mindful of auctions. That if you are doing auctions or you're purchasing auctions, and especially if you're in a different country and sourcing in a different country, it's very, very complicated. It might even be a case of reaching out to the seller beforehand and say, hey, look, if I win this item, this is my plan. Are you happy with that arrangement?
And have them on board beforehand. That's right. Good idea.
It's just been by virtue and bit of luck that this person I've been sourcing off, I've bought 3 things already. And he said, you're that crazy octopus that wants me to keep changing things around. I was like, yeah, that's me. So he's been quite happy to do it, but I don't expect him to forfeit the auction and create a buy it now listing. It's just a case of saying, hey, look, either which way do you want it to do? In this case, he just put a reduction on the postage cost to bring it down from $108 to $5.60.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think people in the US have sell more stuff by auction than what we do here in Australia?
I just think it's a product, to tell you the truth. It's pretty much what it is in, probably what in Australia is like, if you've got a very niche product, and this product is very niche, and they were expecting it to go a lot more than I purchased these 2 products for. So that's primarily what it is. So you will find a lot of buy it now listings. And if you have a buy it now listing, you may have the option of changing it to different addresses if you're using a mail forwarder. But I haven't come across that, this particular product that I source, for personal use, I don't resell this one. It's more of an octopus's guilty pleasure. However, like I said, that I haven't found one at a comparable price for a buy it now listing. So generally this product goes for about $400 or $500 US. I've been picking it up for $75 US on auction.
Wow.
So which is, like I said, that's where, it's quite, within my interest to reach out to this person and say, hey, look, are you happy to post it to to this address so I can get it forwarded to Australia? And and I suppose it's sellers are probably probably more favourable for some countries over others. Take that as you will. So obviously being Australia, we're perceived, I suppose, to be a lack of a better word, to be probably more reputable buyers.
Yes.
So not to say that's derogatory against anyone in particular, but some sellers might block certain countries and all those different things. So
I mean, they're very lucky over there too, because they've got the global shipping program too, so they can just post it off to, if it is going internationally, they can just ship it to the mail center, global mail center thing, and then eBay takes care of it. Yeah,
and that's exactly right. So basically what I'm doing is what we're telling people not to do. So basically this particular seller should be posting my item to the eBay collection center, but instead he's sending it to my mail forwarder. So I'm changing the address. So if I turned around, it was like, a very naughty octopus and said, I never received the item. Yes. This guy's got no leg to stand on because he's basically gone against what we've told him to do. It's just by virtue that, I've reached out to this seller before and, we've had, previous sale history. And because my account, obviously you can go there and check out my account for feedback and, obviously to do his checks and balances. I've been able to do that. So, but like I said, just roundabout way, always if you're looking at sourcing overseas or looking at sourcing through auctions, reach out to the seller and say, hey, look, this is what my plan is. Is there any way we can work on the postage, or could you set it to this alternative location for me?
Yes. Yeah. Good advice. Good
advice.
No.
Well, it's a bit of a long-winded tangent, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm very passionate about these products, you see. Like death rays are hard to come by in Australia.
So that being said, wouldn't the auctions be finishing in the middle of our night?
That's where it comes down to it, right? So this particular product, and this is a tip for new players if you're sourcing online, is to look for auctions that don't finish in peak periods. So if you're going to sell your items in auction, make sure your auctions finish at maybe 6 or 7 o'clock on a Saturday night or a Sunday night, or even a Friday night, where people are basically winding down and relaxing and just watching that auction go down, especially if it's a high value item. You don't particularly want to be having a listing or an auction ending at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, or Monday morning, or obscure time, unless you're trying to target towards that certain international market.
Yes.
But if you're looking at, just basically targeting the Australian market because you're looking at selling some AFL jerseys or something along the lines of that, you don't really want it to be finishing at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday because you're nowhere near going to get as much as you would if you're doing it at peak period.
No, because there'd be a lot of people wouldn't be able to actually get on and have a look and bid on it, wouldn't they?
Well, that's exactly right. So this particular product was finishing at probably, I think, 10 a.m., on a Monday for us. So it's either by virtue there was no interest in America. I don't know what the time frame worked out to be, but but I would assume that it was very probably maybe not a very particular high valued time, I suppose, for lack of better terms.
Yeah. Okay. And how are your sales been this week, Octo?
Yeah, been getting a little bit better. What about yours, Granny?
Yeah, no, I've had really good sales, and I was saying in the live stream earlier, I don't know, there's a bit of a correlation, but I haven't been doing it for long enough to say, well, yes, this is true, but so I've still got some shoes and handbags and belts that I'm no longer going to be moving on with those categories. And so as a way to move them out of my store, I've been putting them up one a day on auction. And then if they sell, great. Some have only sold for 99 cents plus post. Some have sold for well more than what I was hoping for, and some didn't sell. So, but it's giving me a timeline to get them out of my store. So that was the idea. I had no other plan than just to get the stuff out of my store. But in the period that I've been doing it, instead of my sales going like this on eBay every day, they've been going like this.
Yeah, more consistency.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see because I still have I've got enough to keep doing that at least till the end of the month. So I'm going to be interested to see if that trend is continuing.
Yeah, and that's something that I never thought of actually, because I've got some tubs in the garage of very stale clothes, I suppose, in the sense that they've been sitting around for a very long time on eBay, just because of the numeric system, right? So I've went from 001. I'm currently up to about 600 or something like that. But that's what I'm going to do with that first 100 items. I'll probably put them straight to auction for 99 cents plus post, and just to clear them out, because obviously there's no interest after 4 or 5 months. And especially moving out of winter in Australia, a lot of these clothes are, winter clothes. I'll just move them out, even if it's at a loss. It's just to free up that space. And like Blake was saying earlier in the live stream, is that that space might be worth more than that. That the investment that you had in it. So.
Oh, exactly right, because I mean, the space that the handbags take up, I can fit 100 pairs of jeans in there, so it's well worth doing. And I'm the sort of person that I would not just toss them out, even though they haven't sold. I'd be thinking, oh, no, I might keep them because maybe I'll have a garage sale one day. So they would sit around. Whereas this way, it's giving me a timeline. So it actually works quite well in that respect.
Yeah, that's something that from our accountability point of view, that's what I'll be doing. Probably this afternoon I'll work out what the 10-day listing is, so I won't go against what I was saying with the auction finishing at a certain time. But what I'll do is I'll have those auctions listed up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday night.
Yeah.
Just to flush out those 2 crates that I need to get moving because of obviously change of seasons. And see what it goes from there.
Yeah, so I've had a bit of a play with that too, because you can have 1 day, 3 day, 5 day, 7 day. So I've had a bit of a play with it. So if I'm listing something, I can't work the days at my head, but if I list something, say on a Tuesday, I'll do it as a 5 day, because that'll finish sometime over the weekend, and then you set your time. And I'd sort of suggest somewhere between 6 and 9, no later than 9, and I wouldn't do it any earlier than 6. 7, I think, around a better time, because if people have been out at a footy match or something, they'd be home and settled by then. Yep. So 7 to 8's probably your ideal time. But you can do them for so some I've got have been 1 day auctions, some have been 5 day auctions, and so on. And it's a great way. And it'll be interesting to see whether you doing the same thing, whether I just do a few and schedule them for each day. So it'll be interesting to see you doing that, whether you find the same correlation happening with your sales. Yeah,
and there's something that I've noticed recently, my graph is very, very, mountains and dips, I suppose. That's very, very right angles kind of thing. But
I just thought that might help, because your tentacles might not.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. So I could probably do that and go from there. But so that's something of that. But I suppose we better get into the crux of what we're actually talking about this week. It's actually sourcing, and I suppose we're gonna probably niche down in a little bit of the sourcing thing, but because we're quite constant at a time, where we're going to keep these episodes a bit shorter for when we don't have guests on, because we don't ramble for an hour and a half, because we've already rambled for an hour and a half before coming on here. So
exactly. Well, having the live stream before this might actually help us to have shorter podcasts.
Well, slightly. That's right. That might help. But so obviously if we've got a hostage lined up, we might go for a little bit longer, because we want to flesh that out a little bit more. But today I think we're going to talk about sourcing, but we're going to niche down into knowing the product. And obviously, what's your competitive advantage over that product that you're trying to sell? So a bit of an example, Grumpy Granny, is that we were talking before we went, before we went live in this podcast. You might come across Funko Pops, right? So we'll use Funko Pops as the example, what I'm talking about. So a lot of people collect Funko Pops, for personal use. A lot of people collect them for investments, and a lot of, people collect Funko Pops as, as the berated flipper. So basically they buy a product, when it's in short supply, then, they try and flip it for 2 or 3 times the amount of money and go from that way. But I suppose then coming down to what this topic is that you really need to know your market, right? So this goes across the board, and I know a lot of other YouTubers have kind of brushed over this, and they may have talked a little bit about it. But because we're moving into Q4, and also I suppose that a recession, if you think that way, if you don't, you pretty much carry on as you were. But knowing the product,
your head buried in the sand.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like, yeah, everyone's got different opinions of the economy, but like Octopus is not to judge. But it comes down to knowing the product, right? So for Funko, for example, that there's a couple of YouTube channels that I do my market research on, right? So one of them is called the Gasselcast, whatever it is. I'll tag it down in the description. It's a play on their last name, but they're really,
I think it depends on where you live, whether it would be Gassel or Castle.
It's Gasselcast. But basically, they're really attuned. They're a husband and wife team that talk Funko Pops and all these different things. But they focus on the state of the Funko as a company and how they're basically the Funko's annoying their consumer base, right? So if you're looking. And this is what comes back to knowing the market before you go out and buy tons and tons and tons and tons of Funko Pops. Is that Funko Pops, for example, have got like different tiers, right? So they've got common, chase, and limited edition, I suppose. Just to broad brush it. Yeah. Your common ones are the ones that you find at Kmart, Big W, and all the different, Walmart, and all those different stores.
Yeah,
and virtually,
stores, yes.
That's right. So these ones aren't worth the retail price, right? So unless it's very old and very exclusive and no longer hard, to find, that you're not going to be able to sell it for very much money at all. So you need to be very confident of the fact that you might have to have a lower buy-in cost. It might be a case of buying things at $1 or $2 a pop. And then you potentially might be able to sell them for $8 or $9 plus postage on top of that.
So you don't want to be going and paying $5 to $10, do you?
Well, that's exactly right, and a lot of people that collect Funko Pops, for example, that and what we were talking about before, Granny, is that the half the value in a Funko Pop is the box condition, right? So these boxes need to be pristine and they need to be received in pristine condition. So if you're selling Funko Pops, please do not put it in a plastic satchel. Make sure you put it at least in a box. If it's a lower end Funko Pop, put it in a box, put some bubble wrap around it, and some paper towel. Some paper, scrunched up paper, and you'll be fine. Yep. If it's a high end Funko Pop, anything over maybe $60, $75, go down to EB Games or Game or wherever you want to go locally and buy some soft pop protectors, and they probably cost you about $2 each. Yeah. You'll save yourself so much heartache in the end.
Absolutely.
Hell have no fury.
Yeah, and the boxes themselves, the cardboard isn't what's the right word? Strong. Like it's not rigid. It's not rigid.
That's a valid point.
So easily damaged.
That's right. I'll bring that point up in a second as well. But so basically, hell have no fury like a Funko Pop collector, right? So you want to make sure it gets them in the proper condition. So don't bubble wrap it and put it in a satchel because it will arrive destroyed. Yeah. But also be mindful of how the company is going. So basically in the news, because that YouTube channel I mentioned previously was that the company's laid off a significant amount of its American staff. They're shredding 30% of their line. So they're actually looking like they're in dire straits, right? So I'll be very, very, they could be potentially, and they're often touted as the next Beanie Baby. So I wouldn't be going out of my way, investing lots and lots and lots of money into, Funko Pops you think are going to appreciate over the next couple of years. Because I think it's all going to come crumbling down very quickly.
Yeah, don't think as you walk into the op shop or go to a market and you see them for $5 or $6 or, so I see them sometimes for $7 or $8. Yeah, don't think to pick them up. I mean, look, if it's one of the rarer ones and you check it while you're in the store and the box condition is good and all the rest of it, and it is one of those rare ones, well, maybe it's worth the investment. But for the general everyday ones, no.
Yeah, and then like what Granny's saying there as well is that these products are highly counterfeited, right? So basically, if you see them in the markets or you see them in the op shop, it's safe to assume that it's a counterfeit product, right? So you need to do your check and balances to make sure that you're buying it from a reputable store or you're buying them from a reputable person. So obviously, if you go to the marketplace and that person's a collector that's downsizing their collection, you probably want to invest in that. However, if it's a collector, they're probably going to be looking for collector prices. So that goes against what we were saying with the $1 or $2 thing. But if you are buying out massive collections with the purpose of reselling or obviously adding to your own collection, you want to get them as cheap as possible. Because you probably for every good one that you get, you probably get about 20 or 30 crap ones. But what Granny was saying before regarding the box condition and like the box quality, and this is another thing that the Funko community's been saying is that the overall quality of the product, the box and the actual figures themselves are becoming lacking. All right. So basically, this is what it comes back to knowing the market is because, obviously if the quality is going down, the prices are going up, a lot of the collectors are going to be quite fed up with that, quality assurance and that standards, and they'll start moving on to other products,
absolutely they will.
Yeah. So and you don't really want...
Is it right? Like, because I heard too that like some of the ones that people, originally got because they thought they were, limited edition or whatever, they've been re-releasing those into, your Targets and Walmarts and Kmarts, and maybe they've got a different eye colour, but they're basically the same pop.
That's correct. Yeah. So basically, like I don't want to make this all about Funko, but Funko is probably the easiest example to give right here. That's right. So basically, they bring out, they re-release the pop with very minor changes on it. So, like Granny said, it might be an eye color or a slightly different pose. Whilst your true collectors will want that original pop, and they probably quite happily pay quite commanding prices for it. You very run-of-the-mill person, will just go with the alternative version. So, you've basically, you may have had a market of 100 people that would have paid $500 for your pop, but now you've got a market of 5 because there's 95 other people are willing to pay, $15 for one. Looks very similar, but not quite the one it is because they only just want it for their desk or something.
Yes, and they want the character. They're not interested in them as a collectible item.
Well, that's right. Yeah, some people collect the full line, so they have to have every character and every pose and every eye color or something lines of that. But for more often than not, and if it's just because of the nostalgia or they really like that character or something like that, they'll just pay the $15 and buy the re-released one. So there's no use forking out like that. But so like I said, you need to be very mindful of the product. Especially if you're looking at investing large sums of money into something to with the purpose of like reinvesting, or you're looking at investing in it. Say, hey, look, I'll hold on to these Funko Pops for 12 months, and they'll double in price. And I can sell them on eBay then. That's where it becomes more of a you really need to know the state of the market for that thing.
Yes, whether to keep them or whether
Well,
whether to buy them in the first place, because
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I would.
Right.
Well, that's right. Like, I would argue that, and this is what One Foot Flipper has said as well. Like one of the YouTubers in America that we harass whenever he goes live. That basically says that you should be staying away from Funko Pops, and the octopus strongly appears from that stance as well. Is that unless you're collecting it for your own benefit and you don't particularly care about the value, which some people do. They collect just by virtue because they like that character and they don't care if it goes up, down, left, right, or sideways. But if you're looking primarily from a resale point of view and you want to sell it or move it on from that perspective, be very cautious of what market you get into. So that's not like I said, the Funko is probably the easiest one because they're attracting a lot of stick lately. However, it goes across the board as well. But further to what Granny and I were talking about as well is that you want to do as much research on the item. And this is not one-off things that you'll find once every blue moon and you'll never see again. If you are looking at buying a complete collection of Funko Pops and with the purpose of reselling them, you want to join Facebook groups, you want to look at YouTube channels, you want to look at Reddit posts, you want to look at maybe potentially the company themselves and just see what's going on, because once the company gets a lot of ill will towards it, people will start boycotting or they'll start moving away from that company, and you'll be left holding the bag, because if someone's downsizing a very large collection for very cheap, they've obviously seen the writings on the wall and they're moving out before they're the ones that get hold.
And it's definitely one of those cases of it's probably too good to be true, and you need to ask yourself, well, why is that person downsizing? And it doesn't hurt to ask, why are you downsizing your collection?
Well, that's exactly right. And like Granny is saying, there could be Funko Pops are so volatile in the sense that I wouldn't suggest any new reseller or even seasoned reseller that don't know about the product to invest in that, or even look at buying them for a resale, because there's a lot of pitfalls in regards to box condition, is what we're saying. Like they're highly counterfeited products. The counterfeits only if someone very, very, very attuned with that specific pop or that specific product might know what to look for to make it a counterfeit product. So your casual glance might go, it looks perfect to me. I'll roll with that one.
Yeah.
But like I said, you need to do your research and go from there.
Yeah, but also what you're saying, and what we've said about the Funko Pops is relatable to any product.
That's right.
So I sell a lot of jeans, and because of that, I have been researching jeans and doing all those things, and I've been studying up the best sorts of denim to get. And so I actually saw these in an op shop, and I just don't know the microphone over, but if I bring it a little bit closer, you can see the tag, and you can also see the denim's a little bit different. It's a little bit shiny, and it just looks a little bit different than the normal denim that you see. And when I saw these, I already knew what they were because I had been doing that studying. And so these are a particular type of denim. If you have a look at the inside of the leg, they've got this is one of the seams, and that's called selvage edge denim, and this fabric comes from Japan. So back in the day when America was getting all these new fancy looms, Japan bought all their old looms and they could make this selvage edge denim. And so that's Japan's the only place you can get this from. So these I've listed them well under probably what they could go for, but I'm all about the quick turnover. So I've listed them for $90, I think. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so that's something like, but that's like going back a couple of weeks ago, I found some almost new without tag vintage Levi's from the early 80s, I think it was 82.
Nice.
But I wasn't too sure about that. I actually reached out to Grumpy Granny and a few other people, and there was mixed opinions. Yes, they're real. No, they're not real, and all those different things. But what I did to do that was actually jumped into a Levi's group on Facebook and said, "Hey, look, this is who I am. This is what I've got. Can I just get someone to authenticate it for me and just go from there?" And these people are so passionate about the jeans or Levi products that they're more than happy to assist. And they gave me a peace of mind, that. And I suppose we'll probably touch on this topic later on as well. Is that when you advertise a product, you almost need to be not an expert, but you need to be confident that's what the product is.
That it is what it is. Yes.
Yeah, because if you're non-committal with with your responses or the product, hey, I think these might be 1980s Levi's, full stop. If someone's less than like a dubious buyer, they can say, well, this is an INAD because they're not what they say they are. I want my money back, and they get to keep the pair of jeans which are authentic, get their money back, all because you didn't do that extra 5 minutes of research or just speaking to an expert. So
and look, as your knowledge grows too, I think the confidence that you get from that, the knowledge that you gain by going and doing all those things, means that you can actually list some of your items for hire because you've got that confidence. And I have sold today a pair of just jeans, and they're 1980s flares, and they've only got a low rise. They're a pair of women's jeans. Now, most of those other jeans on eBay are listed for, I'm going to say, around the $20 mark. And so I've sold mine for $36.95 plus post. Because I was able to say these are, 1980s flares with they had a beautiful washed out fade to them, and, just a tiny little bit of distressing on them. Just perfect sort of thing that people are looking for. But because I had the confidence that that it was okay to sell them with that little hole in them and another little bit of, distressing on them because of what they were, I could sell them for that premium price. And I took some beautiful photos and put it up, and a few days later they sold.
That's right. Yeah. So it's that extra, 5 minutes has obviously netted you another $15. But for example, for those jeans that you just showed earlier, if I had purchased them and, I probably would have passed on them because I probably would have been able to not find any comps for that brand or whatever it is and moved on from them. But spending an extra 5 minutes learning it. And, a lot of YouTubers, spruik the learning 5 minutes, but I'm a strong advocate, and I've spoken to numerous people about this. Is if you're looking at going into a product or you're looking into going into a market, spend 10 minutes a day just researching. Like for jeans, for example, like the different washes or the different cuts of jeans, the different denims, the different colors, and all these different things. In 10 minutes you can learn a lot about the washes, like you've got acid wash, light wash, medium wash, dark wash, and all these different things. That you'll retain most of that information. So when you do go to the shops or to the thrift store.
Absolutely. And let me tell you that 9 times out of 10, people are attracted to the jeans, whether they actually realise it or whether it's a subconscious thing, but they actually are attracted to your pictures of the jeans and the wash. It's that, whether it's a faded wash from, a washed out fade from being, worn a lot and washed over and over again and worn more in certain areas than others. And you can only get that fade when that happens. And that's the thing that attracts people. And they look at them, oh, wow, look at those. They're vintage and look great. Yeah.
Well, that's right. And that's exactly right. It really comes down to, fashion styles at the time. And that comes back to that research piece is that, there's no use buying a certain brand or a certain, fade or jeans or something like that that's, no longer in vogue, I suppose.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm pretty sure at the moment, the way flares are going, that, you could go to Kmart and buy a good old pair of Ankos and probably cut the tag out and sell them for a good price.
Yeah, well, there we go. Create the Anko market.
Yeah, exactly. Because the denim in the Ankos at the moment is actually not too bad, like the quality. So you could actually, I'm not telling you to do that, by the way, boys and girls. I'm just saying that if you've got the flares, I'm not talking with their normal jeans, I'm talking the flares.
The octopus has no morals, so he'll do it and test the market.
Yeah, and denim skirts, I can't keep up with them at the moment. I started listing them this week, and every one that I've listed I've sold. I think I've sold 1 to 6 this week.
Yeah, okay.
And
that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, but obviously we're moving into summer in the southern hemisphere, or into spring, sorry, and likewise in the northern hemisphere, autumn's rolling around, or fall. So obviously that you want to probably predict, what's coming into vogue. So Blake was talking last week about, looking ahead, but also having a stockpile. If you do sell internationally, you don't have to, delist all your winter clothes, because obviously the northern hemisphere is moving into that. So you kind of want to, work out what your consumer base is or your customer base are buying, and obviously, cater to that as well. So
yes, yeah,
cool.
Very true.
Any? This is a bit of a shorter episode today, Granny. Like
it is.
It's nice to be free.
It is. Have you got anyone locked in the dungeon today?
No, I don't, unfortunately. No, they haven't been behaving themselves, so they're not coming out.
Right. So that door slamming, that creaky door noise I could hear earlier, that was someone being taken out, was it?
No, that was the Bob.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so like our robot vacuum, we've done some upgrades, and he's opening doors now. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so he might actually, he might be, you mightn't be abducted by a white van. You might be taken over by an iRobot vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be funny.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, so
sit on top of me and I'll take you.
Well, pretty much. That's exactly right. Like, just have a chubba chup sitting on top, and you just follow him back. But I'm in the process of finding our next hostage, so we're in negotiations.
Very good.
I did have one in mind, and I've reached out to them, but they're not available yet. So that probably won't be the next one. They'll be the one after that. So
right, okay.
Yeah. So some say he might be the Australian Commonwealth picker.
Oh, the Australian Commonwealth. Well, okay.
Yeah, so I'll let you draw let you draw your own conclusions.
Yes, I'll ponder on that for a while. And listen, boys and girls, I am a bit cranky with you all because last week we asked you to send in your pictures of when you see octopuses, and where are they? So when you're in the op shop and you see a kid's book with an octopus on it, or a animal book with an octopus on it, or you see a little plushy octopus, take a photo of it and send it to us. Where are they?
That's right. We've had to resort to putting up Granny's rap video for content.
And if you don't send us any octopus pictures for next week, we'll have to play the rap video again. That's
right. That's exactly right. We're gonna torture you. If I have to be tortured, you all have to be tortured.
Yes.
But any final remarks, Granny, before we wrap this episode up?
I don't think so. I think things are going along quite well. And yes, if the one thing the boys and girls are doing wrong is not sending the octopus pictures, but apart from that, I think everything's going quite well. And it'll be good to see what happens in our next episode, which will be episode 8.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And if you do have some spare time, go back and watch last week's episode with our second hostage.
Which was very good.
We're getting a lot of good feedback behind it, but we're not finding much traction behind the video.
Yes.
So
the people that have watched it have said how good it was, and it was a lot of fun plus very informative. But yes, we need more people to go and watch it.
So we're not too sure if the YouTube algorithm, dampened it or something along the lines of that. But if we do say so ourselves, like, it was very, very, very informative and very good.
Yes. Hang on. I'll get it right. It's a very good video, so go and watch it.
There you go. And if you don't, Grumpy Granny will slide into your DMs on Instagram and start harassing you with rap videos.
Yeah. And while you're watching that, then just while you're, after you've watched it, just pop over to Grumpy Granny's channel, Grumpy Granny Flipper, and subscribe to my channel too.
That's right. So once you finish watching this all the way through, hopefully, make sure you put a like, comment, and subscribe, because we forget to tell people to subscribe and they don't. And
yes, we do.
Yes. But we'll see you again next week. But make sure you catch our live next Thursday.
Yes, come along and join in, and we'll add you to the list of what you're going to do. I've got people saying they're going to list 50 items this week. Someone else wants to do 6 listings a day. Someone else is going to get a wholesale order from overseas, and someone else, their goal is to do a video every day.
Yeah, and don't forget Uncle Wayno to do absolutely nothing.
Yes, Uncle Wayno had a really good goal to do nothing.
Yeah, which is good. I think Uncle Wayno and myself might be the same person. But, if you do need the extra motivation and the extra push, by all means, jump in. You might be held accountable, and which I think you should be. If you're doing that, you want to be. There is some part of you that wants to be held accountable, and the octopus will push you accordingly. But by all means, it's free. It's not costing you anything other than your time. You're more than welcome to pop on and have a bit of a chat to us. We're Leanne's only human. Me not so
That's
much.
right, and you're only an octopus.
Well, that's exactly right. So
but you might even do a review of someone's store, or
that's right.
What the listings look like,
and that's something we can move on. Obviously that we can. We can build and change as we go along. But at this stage, you're more than welcome just to pop along and do your listings and have us in the background, or you can, like I said, we can jump. We put the link there so you can jump in and have a chat to us. And if they're that way inclined, you're more than welcome to sit behind and watch the listen to and join in the podcast as well. So if you're important enough, you're more aesthetically pleasing than Leanne, you're more than welcome to jump in and we'll have a chat. But I think that's it.
Nasty to old ladies.
I think that's it for us for this week, Leanne.
Very good. All right. Well,
Octo, my voice before it falls over.
Yeah, very true. Well, Octo, I guess I will see you next week.
That's right. Well, let's see what video you release next week. All right, everyone.
All right.
Bye.